So today I have the pleasure of talking to Dom. Dom, would you like to introduce yourself and your business to the community?
Hi Sarah, I'm Dominic, Lavelle from Go Green Experts. I'm the managing director of the organisation. There's 5 of us in the company altogether. And we help companies reduce their carbon footprint and set a target to be net zero in the future or carbon neutral. And it's quite a hot area at the moment. A lot of companies need this in the business-to-business sector, particularly to help them win tenders. It's often a question on the tenders at the moment.
Of course. And how did the business come about?
So we started it in 2019. So I've been passionate about, I guess, climate change and the environment for a long time now. My background is commercial, so I spent a number of years helping companies in, well, initially in London and then the West Midlands, from a kind of P&L perspective. So increasing their revenues, reducing their costs, launching new products, and sort of gap in the market where for the medium-sized businesses, they're not getting the support they need to actually help them with their environmental credentials, and in particular, reducing their carbon footprint, which increasingly I saw in 2019 was becoming an essential part of doing business, not nice to have. And so we set up Go Green Experts to focus on that sector. It took about a year to work out a really slick way of managing the offer and the service to customers, which we've now kind of got nailed down. And we're now, I guess, in the growth phase of reaching out to more medium-sized companies and helping them. Got lots of case studies in different sectors now. So an area I'm really passionate about. I'm always happy just to chat to people about this, and without selling to them, just have a talk about kind of the environmental situation we're in and carbon emissions and how it can, and the impact on businesses. So yeah, it helps working in a sector that I have a real interest in, I think.
And you can tell how passionate you are about it, which is half the battle. Business. And it's really interesting, you started the business in 2019. How did the original business plan, how was that affected by the COVID situation?
Yeah, so there's obviously the downside, but there was a big upside as well. So putting aside COVID itself isn't very nice. So I got COVID, and as lots of other people, it's not very nice things. We've got seriously ill. Putting that to one side for a second, focusing on the business element of it. The downside obviously was we're a new business and we're selling to other businesses, and there's a lot of uncertainty at that time. And so although a lot of businesses were interested, there were quite a few that weren't ready to commit to investing time and effort into what we did at that point in time. Having said that, we weren't particularly looking to grow quickly at that time anyway, because we were still looking to improve our service and our product to make it really exactly what customers need. And the massive benefit was that almost overnight, everyone, it became business as usual to do calls like this on video calls on well, there's 3, isn't there really? There's Microsoft Teams, Zoom, or sometimes Google, and it gave us national presence like immediately. Mm-hmm. So our service is now geared around doing it all online and using calls like this to really build that relationship with clients, and it works surprisingly well. We still do site visits when necessary, and if a customer wants it, and there's no extra charge to that. But a lot of customers are happy with an online service, and it's just more efficient and effective for everyone, really. So that has completely changed the dynamics, really, of a consultancy like ours, where we employ 5 people. We've got some other consultants that we can bring in that are really good when we're busy. But nevertheless, that national presence is there now, even though we're based in the West Midlands.
No, it's definitely a mindset change. And I guess in the future, internationally, if you're doing things remotely, is an option as well. Yeah,
totally. I mean, that is in the business plan, and the standards we work to, there's 2. There's one called PAS 2060, which is a carbon neutrality standard, which is an international standard, and there's the other one, which is increasingly popular now, which is the Science-Based Targets Initiative net zero standard. And we always work to standards because it gives extra credibility to what we do. They're both internationally recognised standards used all over the world. So So you're exactly right. There is that opportunity for an international presence as well. Obviously, there's always some challenges internationally. The further out you get, the more challenges there are. But nevertheless, it's much more straightforward than it used to be. I mean, also, as a business, we keep our carbon emissions as low as possible. So we measure our own carbon emissions each year and try to lower them. So if we were flying out to the US, every week to see clients, that's quite difficult for us and not something that we try and get around that somehow. And again, the fact we can do it remotely, we can have consultants based in the US in future that service customers in the US, for example, and in Europe as well.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. And if you
actually, it's good for us commercially, but it's for us and other businesses to lower their footprint.
No, it definitely helps. And talking of your customers, have you got a favourite customer or a success story that you'd like to share with us, or could share?
Oh well, all my customers are my favourite customers. I couldn't pick a favourite, but I think it's been really interesting working in different sectors, and so we've done a few construction companies now, and they often have similar business models. So the construction sector is one that we have a lot of experience in. The consultants I use have like 30 years experience in construction. So that's one sector that we're really, really pleased with. There's a couple of companies in that sector. One's called Gage Brothers, who are like a family-run business, very successful, really nice client. And then from winning that business, we then won another piece of business called Wing Construction, based in Wales. And they're quite a big business. And they have, any one time, they have multiple sites that they're working on. When we measured their footprint, they had over 15 sites. They came to us because they wanted to win a tender. They needed a net zero target. They really wanted to do this anyway, just gave them that extra nudge to do it quickly. And we turned that around in about 4 weeks. And they're really pleased that we managed to turn that around for them in time for the tender. So that was a really interesting piece of work. We've also done the legal sector, so closer to home where we're based. We've done a company called Harrison Clark Wickerby's Law. Again, a decent sized business, 14 offices around the UK, growing very quickly. We turned around a net zero target for them within 2 months. The partner that we're working with was really pleased with what we did. And that's then given us a really powerful case study when we're speaking to other law companies. And then finally, there's lots of other sectors we've done, but finally, I guess the tech sector, we've helped a tech product go carbon neutral. And we're now helping, it's our second year helping a company called Bango PLC. So a publicly limited company with offices in the UK, the US and Japan. They've got clients like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, very successful UK business, growing quickly. And we've had a multi-year partnership with them now. Again, helps us when we're talking to other tech companies. And we're doing a really interesting piece of work with them now where we're engaging their employees. So I'm going up next week to their offices. We're doing a big engagement week. You need the employees kind of bought into it. So spending a week up there with them and getting the employees on board is going to be really exciting for us.
It sounds just amazing to be because it's such a diverse product and solution, which always helps. So what would you say your biggest learning has been since you became the managing director?
Oh wow, biggest learning. So I'm quite action orientated. So I like to kind of dive in and there's the new opportunity over there, let's go for it. And when I was working in, I guess, the corporate world, and I had maybe 30 people in a kind of department, and we launched new products or something, then we could get a lot done in a short period of time with the amount of resources in a big company. But now there's 5 of us, and like I say, we're growing, we have other consultants we can use, etc. But we're still quite a small business currently. And I think learning to say no a lot is really important. And I'm someone who gets excited by new things and goes, oh, that's brilliant, let's do that. And I think I read somewhere you should be saying no nearly all the time to new ideas and opportunities, and just say yes to one or two really big things. And I think that's a learning for me, and I think that's absolutely right. It's like you have to be really focused on what you're going to spend your limited time on to grow the business effectively. So that, I think that's my number one learning. And it sounds quite boring and negative to say no to lots of things, but it is very important, I think.
And it's as you say, if you're somebody who naturally is like, yes, this is amazing, this is shiny and new, it is important to say no, because otherwise you'll just go off all over the place and lose that laser focus.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think that's right, Sarah.
Perfect. Okay, so another big question. If you were speaking to your 18-year-old self now, what advice would you give?
I would tell him how I've built a time machine. No, I would, what advice would I give to I don't really have, I'm not someone who like looks back and have regrets. That's quite difficult to answer. I think this might sound a bit corny, but I am very into kind of lifelong sort of learning. And I went to uni, and, you know, after uni, I did more exams and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of, learning doesn't finish when you kind of finished education. I think I'm still learning a lot today. And if you find something you're passionate and interested in, and you might not find that for quite a while, but don't be afraid to do difficult things. And if you fail, it's kind of okay, because you'll probably learn a lot along the way. And keep an open mind and keep learning. And I think as I've got older, I'm 44 now, I think some people you kind of meet are they feel they're quite set in their thinking, and that's it. And for me, and I think for younger people, it's great if they can try and keep an open mind into how the world works and what's going on, because it is much more complicated than people, and it's always changing. Like the whole business community, economics, everything is always changing. So keeping an open mind and trying to see both sides of things, I think, is really important.
No, great. And I'm sure lots of people can resonate with that, and hopefully some 18-year-olds will see this and be like, oh, I'm going to do that, which always helps. And then kind of the last question for me today is, what inspires you the most today?
So the sector I work in is really only just getting going. So I liken it to, I was quite young when you had like the internet kind of tech boom. I say quite young, I was in my like early 20s. Like my first job was for a holiday company, and a big holiday company, and they didn't have a great website. And I was like, guys, you need a good website, everyone's going to be booking online. And they were like, oh, what about the next year? Well, the year after. And they nearly went out of business, partly because they took a long time to get a good website, which sounds crazy now, but that was the time then. And I feel it's the same now in the environmental sector, that but times 10, like the whole economy is going to change over the next 20 years. Like everything is touched, all sectors are touched significantly by decarbonisation. So that's hard and difficult, but there's also massive opportunity commercially, and also for society while we're doing that and investing in that, to kind of have infrastructure in a society that probably works a bit better than it does today. So there's a lot of risk there. It's quite scary. Climate change is quite scary when you look at it in detail, but there's also massive opportunity to do some really good stuff. So that just fascinates me, really. That's what inspires me, I think.
No, amazing, thank you. Well, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for your time during the interview. It was great.